David, tell us a
Hi.
little bit about how did you get introduced to internal family systems?
Well, if it's okay to back up a little bit. During my drum career, there was an aspect of my drumming that I did not take care of, and that was my sense of time, which is to be able to begin a song and play that song straight through at the same tempo. And I struggled with that basic part, which is really important for a drummer. And I always had a funky feel or things like that, but that was something that if we looked in IFS, I had a part of me that could not accept help. And it's a longer story, probably for another time. However, when I went back to college, I said I will never ever struggle like I did with my drumming on a nightly basis. So once I met Professor Anthony Testa, I said to myself, I will find the best teachers that I can possibly find anywhere in the country and study with them on any particular form of psychology that I found that I really wanted to invest in. So that's what I did. And so how IFS came around is that I was studying with Dr. Suzanne Borstein, who became a very dear mentor with EMDR, which stands for Eye Movement Desensitization Reprocessing. And I trained the first part with actually Dr. Francis Shapiro, who created EMDR, and then found Deborah Korn, and then found Dr. Borstein. And I stayed with her for about six or 7 years. I'm kind of like a barnacle. Once I latch on to somebody, I hang on.
Good.
And during that, but I've studied many models for a long period of time, and then Dr. Borstein started talking about having been exposed to internal family systems. And she kept talking about it. Then she took the level 1 class and kept talking about it. So for me, I was kind of like, ugh, I might need to delve into something because I knew that it wasn't going to be like a 3-month course or anything like that. But I fought it for quite some time, and I read all the books and things like that. Eventually, I took the level 1 training, which was a year, and then for the next 6 years, I was a teaching assistant, or they call it a program assistant, where you help the lead trainers in teaching people how to do it. So that's how I came about it. I met my IFS mentors, which is Ann Cinco, Dr. Rena Dubin, and Michael Elkin became my mentors, and then also had the real honor of being mentored not only by them, but by Dr. Schwartz, Richard Schwartz himself. So it was a long investment in that, and it's been really useful.
How many years have you been doing it?
Probably it's maybe around 9
Yeah.
now, 9 years.
Yeah.
And what happened is that when I took my level 1, Lori, after a while you get to see people who really got the stuff, so to speak. And so I asked the trainers and I asked the program assistants, I said, how do you get to be where you are, like this, really like your arms around the model and just being it rather than kind of acting it? And everybody said the same thing. You do the trainings, see an IFS therapist, and also apply to be a program assistant. So I just said, okay, that's what I'll do, and found a really wonderful IFS therapist, Dr. Fernando Augusto. Started doing the trainings for the next, like I said, 6 years, and to really feel comfortable in that world. Also, kind of live it. And IFS is really different in that a lot of times where, say someone isn't like a therapist and you have a client or a patient, whatever you call that person, and the client is being resistant. Well, in IFS, it doesn't work like that. Usually what happens is the therapist that's causing some kind of issue. So to be able to acknowledge your own stuff actually in the session is something that's really fairly unique to IFS and has become really invaluable. I always lean towards that, but IFS really encodes it into you that it's no one is without their parts and their stuff. So it was really attractive to me personally and professionally.
I love that about that you have to have a IFS therapist in order to. It's like being in recovery. You have to. You can't really tell someone how to be in recovery if you're not in recovery.
Sure.
I mean, you can, but having that lens is, very important.
I think for me, the first time we met, you talked about the collaboration and collaborating. But you said something that day that, you've been a student for 29 years.
Yes.
And I love that, that, you've been a therapist for 29 years and to say that you're still a student. And I identify with that because, 17 years sober, I feel like a newcomer, and I hope I continue to feel that way. I hope I still have that within me, no matter how far along in my recovery I am. But when you expressed that to me, that you were still a student, it was beautiful.
It levels the playing field a little bit. I mean, we know we go to somebody for their expertise and their education and their knowledge, but to know that, everybody has their, no one's perfect and everybody has.
You've had a couple of parts pop up in our sessions.
You and me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
and I'm not talking about just yours. I'm talking about mine.
Yours. Yeah. And that's the beauty of it. That's what I love is that, it's you're a student of it. There's nobody who I'd rather sit with for an hour and a half than David Medeiros. It's and again, going back, I think all of our guests at Herren Wellness feel that energy when you step on that campus.
Yep. The passion, like we talked about before, the passion, it's very clear. It is like you can't fake it.
No, and it's not walking through something like just showing up and okay, paycheck or whatever it is. It's that. It truly is passion. I mean, when I see you folks, when I first came on campus and I wasn't doing the group, and people were kind of surprised again. And they, what are you doing here? I said, I'm going to talk to Lori and talk to Chris, and we're going to talk about something about the group. But they were kind of surprised that somebody would be there when they didn't have to be or when they weren't scheduled.
Yeah.
And I was happy to be there.
Yeah.
I set up some drums and I played a few songs. We hung out. We did the things. So that to me that's.
Now, let me ask you a question. Why is the drums and the music so critical to start your group off?
That's a great question. I'm not quite sure.
All right, but I'll give you a couple of seconds to think about it. But that being said, and I think you've said it so well, there's days I sit in that group and I'm saying to myself, nobody better hand me that cowbell. Nobody better walk up to me and
no one would dare.
Yes, give me that cowbell. Because once you get the cowbell, you have to get up and dance in front of the whole community. And, it's really no different. I'll sit in meetings and I don't enjoy reading. I can read perfectly well. But my part comes up that I'm not good enough and I'm not smart enough and I want to pass when it's my turn to share. There's not many people that have shared their story as much as I've shared it. And, and yet there's still parts of me that feel like it's not good enough and you're not going to tell it good enough and it's not going to resonate. But watching that community last week rally behind one, that one guest who hid behind a wall, wanted nothing to do with it. And once he got up, watching everybody else get up was, we could have dropped the mic right there.
Yeah.
We could have
for
walked
him.
out.
Could have ended.
They got up for him.
That was the group. They got up for him, and that's special. But it sets a tone. We get up there.
It does.
Like you said, we get funky.
Yeah.
We play the right music.
Everyone's smiling.
Yeah, everyone's
kind of, bopping around, begging that no one comes up and says, you got to get up and dance.
You got to get up and dance. But I love it. I mean, it just sets the tone for the group. And I think everyone who's part of that community, from staff to guest, they look forward to that.
And
Okay.
it inspires so much conversation. And your intake, your take on things, or your perspective. So it gets people kind of like going, and I'm going to share, and we just all did this together. And when you've done some individual work, like in the group setting,
The demos.
And you always ask, is there any reason why you would be uncomfortable here? I want you to look around the room. Every single guest looks at every single person in the group and says, I'm good here.
I'm okay.
Which is really, really special.
Yeah. And one time they said they weren't sure. And we addressed that right there because we never force anybody to do anything in IFS or the groups. And that was a really, really powerful piece. When you ask me about the music, I mean, obviously being a musician, but I mean, music is a universal language. It brings people together regardless of culture. It can be different styles, but also the pulse. So a lot of times when I pick songs, I'm kind of like a little bit of a mad scientist, but I'm looking, there's a certain beats per minute between like 105 and 115. So we just did the Adele song last time.
That was so good.
And it has that, what's the name of that song? Is it Into the Deep?
Rolling in the deep.
Yeah.
There we go.
Into the deep.
Yeah. And it has that pulse that people resonate with, regardless of where you come from. And then you see, we could talk about group process and the psychological stuff, but the bottom line is it brings people together. And then they're doing stuff, and it changes the group dynamics, who they are. There's people that actually get up and want to dance now and do that.
But I mean, think about it. 18 years old to 78 years old.
Yes.
Dancing.
People that are very, very introverted. People that grabs the cowbell and could, do a really funky dance. To everybody.
Sure. Yeah. So exciting.
It's like the definition of recovery.
But also the safety.
Yeah.
Right? Like it speaks volumes of like the comfort and the safety that they feel in that room when you give them the opportunity to get up and dance. But again, it's something that, even 17 years in, I'm like, do not pass me that. Don't pass me that cowbell.
But aren't we all like
I'm duly
that, though?
noted.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that when we're
duly noted. Yeah.
we think we're too, that we don't have that fear.
Yeah.
Who doesn't have it?
Yeah.
I mean, people will say they don't have it, but I don't know.
That's the universal,
Right?
That's the, the universal kind of well, geez, I don't know.
Don't look at me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Suffer from not feeling good enough, and
But Herren Wellness, it's you and Heather set the tone that is a safe place to share because it's level.
Some of the most powerful groups I've ever been in 17 years has been at Herren Wellness. And again, I think for me, people often say why. I had Herren Project going. I took a major chance with my life. I was 10 years sober when we opened Herren Wellness, and we had worked really hard as a family to get where we were at. And I wanted so badly to be part of someone's story. I think that sometimes people lose sight of what we have together. The ability to witness and bear witness. And to me, there's nothing more powerful. And I've gone to groups, and I'll be the first to admit it. I've listened to a couple of one-year celebrations, and I'm sitting in the back, and I don't know, envious, jealous. I don't know what the word would be, but I want what they have. I want what they have. And they had been at our center for 4 months, 6 months, however long. But I've listened to a few 1 years, and I said, like, they got it. They got it going. And so it's beautiful.
Like
right?
the simplicity,
the simplicity, the connection. I mean, my recovery is not perfect, right? And there's times I struggle more than others, and I've just have had the privilege to sit in a room and bear witness to someone who is celebrating 365 days, but not only that, telling it and how they did it. And it's just, it's special. It's special.
nothing better.
Nothing
better. Except sitting in an alumni on Wednesday night. And so we have a huge Zoom community, and then we also have on-site on Wednesday nights. So there can be 60, 70 people. And the people that we see when they come in, and then hearing them 2 years later, a year later, 3 years later, the wisdom, the commitment, the
sacrifice,
support,
the love.
It is like, it's like you give them just a little bit of a playbook, and then you watch these people are just thriving in their lives and happy and joyous. And it's not easy being in recovery in this culture. Let's face it. I mean, everything it's in your face, everything. And that is really cool.
It is. I said it the other day when we did the interview for Channel 5. It was all about marijuana psychosis and, what it looks like today. And it's interesting because what I've watched over the last 8 years is kind of a different trends coming into Herren Wellness.
Yep.
And in the last year or so, we've had a lot of elderly. It's been a lot of older people coming in to get sober. And, and then the opposite end of the spectrum are the young kids. And they're coming in for marijuana. And, I just said it. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with letting kids know there's not with getting sober from marijuana.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with quitting.
Yeah.
And I think that's some of these kids, that's what they face.
Yeah.
It's so part of their culture that they can't walk away from it. And, there's no marijuana anonymous. There needs to be.
Yeah. There probably will be
There
with all
needs to
this.
be.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
a 19, 20, 15, 16-year-old kid can't go on his phone or her phone and say, I'm going to go to a marijuana meeting today. And that's something that's missing.
Well, they also, the culture is, and you've done a lot of work on this with the first day, is the whole idea of, I'm not that bad yet. I'm not that bad. And everybody waits for the bottom.
And I could be wrong. I don't know. I over the years, I've struggled with the rock bottom thing. I just felt like we're missing it.
1,000%.
We're
Why?
missing it.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to the depths that I went or anybody else went
Right.
in order to get sober.
Right.
And I think for years, families have waited for that moment. Like whether it's a DUI or an arrest or an overdose, now they'll get it. I think that's one thing that I'm very proud of over the last 10 years with the stigma, that people are willing to enter younger and earlier.
Yeah. Let's catch it.
Let's catch it.
It's a part of prevention,
definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, the elderly, it's the most beautiful thing I see. And at times painful, because I have people in my life who are older, who struggle. And, I pull on that campus and I see someone in the same age going upstairs to go to group and having family visits and family meetings. So it's hard for me, but it's also incredibly special.
Yeah.
That someone in their 70s is saying, I'm going to kind of close the show a little different this time, And I just have so much respect for the older the older group that decide to try it.
And they're cranky.
They're not easy.
They've lived They've lived life.
They're not easy.
And
be.
most of the time they're children that are adults, and their spouses are the impetus for the admission, and they end up loving it, which is really cool.
It's interesting. I was listening maybe to a podcast or an interview, and someone said there's a generation right now of adults taking care of parents who caused trauma in their life. So it's just interesting how now they have to take care of the person that didn't take care of them. You know, and that in itself is extremely challenging. You know, now it's my responsibility to take care of you, and you never took care of me.
Yep.
But the older people that come in, it's the families. You know, they're just saying enough's enough. Like we're gonna do this the right way. And you know, I give them so much credit for opening that door and entering that world.
Yeah.
At 60, 70, 80 years old.
We have an alum that is, he was with us at our 4th of July party last year, July 5th. He came with his wife. He came back the next day, and he is celebrating a year in 3 days, God willing.
God, the courage, though.
I know.
That's the word.
You know?
Yeah.
The courage, the boldness.
A year.
The willingness to change. 50 years.
Yeah.
And say, no more. You know? And, you know, the beauty is we get to be part of that. We have this beautiful period of time with our guests.
Yeah.
That most treatment centers don't have that privilege. Most treatment centers are keeping them for 5 days to 28 days, if they're lucky. You know, we have multiple guests who extend for months. And that's, for me, I just kind of equate, it's a different classroom.
Yeah.
It's a different meeting.
Yeah.
You know, like you sitting in a room with someone with 6 months, 7 months sober. I think they learn pretty quickly that people are committed, that they're passionate, and that they're willing. So we don't run into that at Herren Wellness.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You know, and we met with the family last week, and they said, what if our family member leaves early? And it doesn't happen.
I know, yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
We don't deal with that.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard when, you know, 20 people are fully committed and all in. You know, if you're the outlier, that's a tough crowd to be in.
Yep.
And rather than running, they dive in.
Right.
And become part of.
Yep.
Yeah, that group, the drafting of being a part of the group and being part of what you folks have created, that's a formidable thing. And it's not forced. It's a natural current to move towards that.
Yeah. There's an energy there that people want to help people like feel comfortable quickly.
Yeah, and I think an example of that is our alumni. Because they're just an extension of us.
Yep.
They're an extension of our model, of our program. You know, they take care of each other.
They do. They really do.
And they are very passionate about taking care of each other.
They will call anybody, go anywhere, do anything. Yeah.
That's the village.
Yeah, it is.
You know, that's the village.
Yeah.
In so many different areas of support, expertise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a thing called unconditional positive regard, which is when you see folks, they're truly seen and understood. And for all the warts and all the other things, and yet there's still this, like you had talked about, Chris, about bearing witness. That's a unique thing, especially in recovery or when people have, I mean, when you're in the throes of addiction, that's traumatic to your family, the people around you. And to still be seen like that, as that was a part, rather than that's all of you, and all that you've done is just this shitty thing, and seen like that, I can see why people hang out a long time. What a gift!
Yeah.
To be seen.
Yes.
Yeah.
to be
No
seen.
doubt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And people are called. I mean, it's not like it's like all kumbaya. Everything is great. It's you're working on stuff, and when people are struggling, I've seen that numerous times now in your folks where you address it. So it still has that the courage necessary not only for them but for you folks, for the staff, for coaches, to be able to address that
Yes.
right, like
Right
right then.
And we're fortunate because of the way we created it. And I think, with the team that we have, with the staff that's in place, you get a lot of us. You get a lot of us. That's who we are, and that's what we've created, is that leading with our recovery.
It's personal. It
It's
feels
very
more personal.
Yeah. I think I have to pinch myself to this day, 8 years in, when I get a phone call saying, my brother's in liver failure, and I want to send them up to your place, or a parent hears me speak in a community, and we get a call the following week saying we're going to bring our 17-year-old daughter. Like, I mean, geez, what greater responsibility can one person give you than handing someone they love
Yep.
into our care?
And that's where being small allows us to do
course.
the care.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel rushed or crowded or like everybody's too busy. I think that it's a strong team and enough people.
People have access to you
Yes.
folks.
Yes. Yep.
We've watched some pretty special groups go through that program. I've watched, groups that came in the same month, 20 of them, and 16 of them celebrated a year sober,
Yep.
And they all showed up for that celebration. So there's a sense of pride for doing it for the person to the left or
That's
to the right of you.
Right.
That we've been able to kind of establish at Herren Wellness.
If I can add the expression paying it forward, I'm not going to speak for either of you, Lori or Chris, but my sense is that's a very significant part of what that's like in service. Certainly it is for me as well. And that's what I see you folks foster, is a sense of paying it forward with the group, even in the current group, where I've seen people that have been struggling in a particular week or for more than a few weeks. And then later, when they seem to get anchored and grounded, and then someone else is struggling, that very person that was so caught in that struggle, in that vortex, they're helping someone else and helping them. And then what I hear is that goes forward now and gets paid forward to the alumni and those people and that support. It's contagious.
Yeah.